Good morning from the Orlando Starflyer. We are here today because Real Florida Adventures invited us out to go on their Manatee snorkeling tour. This is a company that does all kinds of different Florida style tours around the state, and this is their best-selling tour, and also it's rated #1 on TripAdvisor. We're gonna head out to Crystal River, which is the only place that you can legally swim with manatees. We're gonna do some snorkeling with manatees, then we're gonna head into Homosassa State Park, kind of go around, see some of the animals there. Then we're gonna get on an airboat and go on an airboat adventure. So it's gonna be an action-packed day. Wanted to say thank you to Real Florida Adventures for having us out. I'm very excited. Like, I cannot wait to do this. One thing I wanted to mention before we get in the van here is that there are 3 locations that they will pick you up from in Orlando. There's Margaritaville, there is the Golden Corral on Vineland, and here at the Starflyer, they'll pick you up from Orlando and drive you out to Crystal River, provide you with breakfast, then they'll take you snorkeling with the manatees. They do provide lunch as well, and then they'll drive you back here at the end of the day. An all-inclusive tour. So let's do it. Let's hop in the van. We are on our way, and one thing I wanted to show you is that in the van, they have a list of movies that you can choose from so that you can occupy your time, because it is about an hour-and-a-half drive out to Crystal River. They also have Wi-Fi available and breakfast. So we've made it out to Manatee Tour and Dive in Crystal River, Florida. So the Real Florida Adventures company is the tour company that sets up all of these different companies to take you on tours, and this is the first stop on our all-day-long tour. We're gonna get wetsuited up and we will head out onto the boat and we will get into Crystal River and we will go swimming with the manatees. Nice short boat ride out, and we've come to our spot where we're gonna get in the water. Perfect visibility. Also not very deep at all. So on the way out here, they told us that manatees are related to elephants, and they said that they have very little fat on them, so they come up here in the winter time to try to stay warm in the springs, because the springs stay at 72 degrees year round. So this is their wintertime destination. So it's not winter quite yet, but I'm sure that they will be starting to make their way down here, so we should still see kind of a lot of manatees here. They said the ones that stick around all summer long are older manatees, and then also manatees that just had a baby, so they're still nursing the baby and teaching the baby the way of the world, teaching them what to eat and where to get food, and then they will head off on their own. Swimming with the manatees over there by the dock, we are headed towards Three Sisters Spring, one of the very popular springs here in the area. Coming up on an alligator right here. Just a little guy. Holy cow, that was a fantastic tour. It's still not winter yet, it's just starting to become fall, and it's still hot out here in Florida, so the manatees aren't kind of flocking towards the springs. I want to come back out here in the winter. They said that there's like 200-300 kind of all bunched together in the different areas near the springs. So, I don't know if you guys saw it, but when we came out of the Three Sisters, you noticed that there was clear water, and then it went to like this kind of brownish tannic water. That water is, in the wintertime, colder than the clear spring water. That's why the manatees come to the springs in winter, because it is warmer there and they don't have a lot of fat on them. They said that they have about 7% body fat, so they need to stay above 72 degrees. 68 degrees and below is fatal to manatees, so they try to flock towards the springs in order to stay warm. I was blown away that we got to see a little baby manatee. You get to see a little teeny tiny baby manatee hanging out, because the manatees that are in the river here, because it's summertime, are either older manatees that have been here for a while, or newborn manatees and the moms. That's what we got to see. We actually got to see two babies today. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. There was the one really little one that was hanging out with mom, and then there was another one that was kind of medium sized, and it kind of looked like it was kind of like chewing on the mom's flipper. That's because the mom's nipple is underneath the armpit, and it was actually nursing. Even though it looked almost full size, almost as big as mom, it was still just a baby, still nursing on its mom. I can't believe we got to see two baby manatees today. This was great. Wow. All right, so now we are headed to Homosassa State Park for the second part of our tour. We're gonna go see some animals that are all rescue and rehabilitation animals. On the way over, they also provided lunch. Got some potato chips, got a pub sub, some lemonade, and a cookie. Oh, a couple of cookies, a couple of Publix cookies. I wanted to show you what we ate for breakfast. Got a couple of croissants in here, a chocolate muffin, an orange, some yogurt, this is some jam, raisins, and some apple juice. All right, so now we've made it to Homosassa Springs State Park. This is a wildlife preserve. They did tell us on the way over here that they have all Florida native animals except for one, Lou, the hippopotamus. When this park first opened, it had animals from everywhere. But then when the state bought it, they decided to make it so that it was only Florida-based animals that were here, and all the residents petitioned to keep Lou because they liked him so much. He is 61 years old now, and they believe that he is the oldest hippopotamus in the world. So hopefully we'll get to see Lou today. They've already started decorating for Halloween. This bear right here is my favorite. I like him. And it looks like they have a cutout of Lou out in front. We are now inside of Homosassa Springs State Park. And this is really interesting because, oh, look at hippopotamus, that's what we're looking for. But it's really interesting because it's right here on the river. This is the Homosassa River. And actually this area right here that we're looking at is the rehabilitation area for the manatees. So there are 3 manatees in this section right now. They got a lot of space to roam. Here it is, we're looking for Lou, the Nile hippopotamus. Oh, there he is right there, hanging out. 61 years old. That's what I want to do when I'm 61 years old. Just kind of hang out. We have a white-tailed deer out here. Another Florida native. These are the 2 manatees that are here from SeaWorld, just waiting to be released, and they're waiting for them to gain about 100 more pounds and for the winter to come so that they can be released at full weight and with the other groups of manatees that come here in the winter. So you can see this is the quarantine pool here where those 2 manatees are, but then they also have this critical care facility up here so that if any manatees come in with cold shock, this is one of the facilities that they'll be able to treat them in, along with SeaWorld and maybe a couple of other places around town. You can see they've got a few more treatment habitats here. Head her to the underwater observatory. So you can kind of see, looking down into the main spring here, and we're gonna head down in this underwater observatory. This is kind of wild. It kind of seems like it's like a boat almost. Oh, and it's cold down here too. Not a lot of activity going on over here, but we could see a mullet just for a second. It really is a beautiful place though. A little snake swimming across the water over there. I don't even know if you guys will be able to see it. It's going quick. Oh no, it's not a snake, it's fish. Just kidding. Cool thing about Florida Springs is these are all natural rock formations. This is just the way that the rocks have broken where the spring comes out from the Florida Aquifer, which is the underground river of water we have here in Florida. Just passing by Lou's habitat one more time, and then I noticed this sign, splatter zone. Because when a hippopotamus poops, they spray it around with their tail. A couple of American alligators over here having a conversation. It's like going to the water cooler at work. We're just looking for a Florida panther. You guys tell me if you see one or not. Oh yeah, there she is. It's just so wild that we have big cats that are just native to Florida. I've never seen one of these out in the wild, but I could, and that's frightening to me because they are very large. Fun fact about the Florida panther, they actually purr. They will purr and meow just like a normal house cat, but a little bit more dangerous than a normal house cat. Well, that explains it. We just looked up how many are left in the wild. There's only about 120 to 130 wild Florida panthers left. That would be why I haven't seen one. There it is, another animal that I haven't seen out in the wild, a black bear. I've seen plenty of videos of them though, getting into people's trash cans and stuff like that. That's why in certain areas of Florida you have to lock up your trash cans or have bear-proof trash cans. This is pretty neat because I've never seen this particular bird before. This is a crested caracara, and they're native to South Florida. There's a red-tailed hawk in here that's huge. This is a gigantic red-tailed hawk. I've seen plenty of those around. I've never seen the crested caracara. Got a couple of bald eagles over here, and you should note this is a rescue and rehabilitation facility, so these particular bald eagles are not flight risks. They will not ever fly away, so you can see they don't have any sort of netting or anything keeping them in here. They mostly just stay on the ground. So there it was. That was Homosassa State Park. What they do is they use this as like a nice little like midpoint in the day. So you have your lunch on the way over here, and then you just have like a nice little 45-minute walk around looking at some wildlife that's being rehabilitated here. Just kind of let your lunch settle before we head out to Wild Bill's Airboat rides. So it's like swimming with manatees, nice relaxing walk around the park, then Wild Bill's Airboat rides. So this is a pretty fun day so far. I'm really enjoying myself. The manatees were amazing. This was really cool too because I got to see a lot of animals that I haven't ever seen before, and I'm excited to do an airboat ride. So just to prepare you guys for what's coming with the airboat ride, I don't know if I'll be able to have a lot of audio during the airboat ride because it is a loud, airboat is a flatboat with a V8 engine on the back and an airplane propeller that forces you through over top of the water. So It's a very loud activity, so I don't know how much of that will have audio to it. It might just be like a nice musical interlude for you. So we're heading there now. The other thing that's great about this is, so Crystal River is about an hour and a half away from Orlando, but Wild Bill's is about a half an hour towards Orlando. So we're making our way back towards Orlando, kind of cutting the trip home in half, or like breaking up the trip home. So makes it more relaxing and easier to do. Not to mention we could be watching a movie in the van or using Wi-Fi. Let's go, let's get in the van. This is a courthouse where an old Elvis movie was shot called Follow the Dream. Here we are, we've made it to Wild Bill's airboat rides. I like this, as seen on America's Got Talent. I guess one day, or one of the episodes of America's Got Talent, Nick Cannon was here at Wild Bill's. And he's like, we're here in Tampa, Florida. Can you get any more Floridian than this? And he just points down to a big, giant alligator. That was filmed here at Wild Bill's Airboat Tours. We're gonna go on an airboat here. I don't know anything about this area, so you and me, we're gonna be learning it together. Let's go inside and see what they have in store for us. So this is Bubba. He has been here for about 20 years. He was a nuisance alligator, and Florida Fish and Wildlife deemed him non-releasable. He's about 13 feet long and 1,100 pounds, and they believe him to be 50 years old. The way that you can tell how long an alligator is you can measure from the tip of the nose to the eyes, and however many inches that is, that translates to how long the alligator is in feet. So about 13 inches from the tip of the nose to the eyes, and that translates to 13 feet long. So this is an example of an airboat, and the boat that we're going to be going on is going to be smaller than this because we are just on a private tour, so there's just me on it. So we don't need this gigantic boat here. But remember how I told you it was loud? Right there. Got a gigantic V8 engine on the back, hooked up straight to a propeller. It's a very big engine and very loud. The unique thing about airboats, you can see the captain sits way up there. They got a flat bottom to them, so they can kind of go over top of the water rather than going through the water. Makes it easier for them to go over brush or any sort of like weeds. Don't have to worry about hitting anything, any rocks or any trees or anything that are hidden underwater. Also, it's better for the manatees because there's no propeller down in the water. you go. That was our airboat tour at Wild Bill's Airboat Tours. That was actually very refreshing because even though it is hot outside, it's still 90 degrees outside. On the airboat, the wind was blowing nice and it was keeping us cool. Plus we got to see a couple of alligators. That first alligator that we saw was huge. Saw a gigantic soft-shell turtle, saw a bunch of birds, and also it was fun. Like, airboats are just fun. I always wondered, are airboats a thing elsewhere other than Florida? Because they're very, like, common in Florida. But I don't think that they're common, like, in northern states for sure. I'm sure they're probably around some of the other southern states. But I feel like Florida's the best place to do an airboat ride because we've got the most waterways. So also it was really fun doing it on the small boat. Normally we'd be on a big boat with a big group like that. The big boats are still nimble, but that small boat was real nimble. And I like how it drifted too. It was really neat. Like, it felt nice. And it was also really fun too because it felt like we were gonna just drive straight onto land some of the times. And then he would turn, or it wouldn't actually be land. It would just be like weeds that he would go over top of. All right, so now we are headed back to Orlando, back to our car at the Starflyer. And there you have it. We are back at the Starflyer. What a fantastic day. Like, I'm blown away by how good that was. We got to swim with manatees. We got to see 2 baby manatees, 1 really little baby manatee. The water where the manatees were was kind of like stirred up a little bit, so just be prepared for that if you book this tour. You might not have crystal clear water where the manatees are unless you come in the winter time. Then they're going to be where the crystal clear water is, and they're looking for that warm spring water to stay warm. You'll see hundreds of manatees, but there will be more people out on the river. So kind of a give and take there. The Homosassa State Park, awesome. Like, I got to see a whole bunch of animals that I've never seen before in real life. And then we went on Wild Bill's airboat ride. Airboat rides are always fun. Such a great adventure. I think if you're coming to Florida, you should definitely spend at least 1 day doing Floridian things like this. Not only would you get to do stuff that you might not have done before, but also it's kind of a relaxing day. When we were in there with the manatees, you're on a pool noodle, kind of floating around. The water's nice and cool, cools you off on a hot day. Then you just get to, like, a nice leisurely 45-minute walk around looking at some rescue animals. Then you head over to Wild Bill's and you have an adventurous airboat ride, wind in your face, maybe get to see some alligators, you get to see a lot of birds. You never know what you're gonna see. I don't know, I had a blast today. Definitely give Real Florida Adventures a try. We'll put a link to their website in the description down below if you'd like to book your own tour. I want to say thank you to Real Florida Adventures for having us out. And with that being said, we are off. We'll see you all tomorrow.
My name's Olivia and I'm from Orlando.
My name's Jessica and I'm from Kansas City.
And now it's time to pay the price.